What's up, upstanders? Dr. O here. And it's important that we say her name, Jocelyn Rojo Carranza. Jocelyn Rojo Carranza. Jocelyn Carranza was the 11-year-old girl who was bullied at a school in Gainesville, Texas, where students threatened to call ICE over their immigration status, and said that she was going to come home and be all by herself. This is how the story is going according to CNN and other sources. And as somebody who speaks to schools all across the country about anti bullying and being upstanders, I immediately thought about my son, who's 10 years old in the fourth grade. And before I get deeply back to her story and why this is a problem should be a problem for everyone, I was wondering if my son had heard anything relating to that, because off the top, knowing my son, he's knowledgeable about things, but I don't think he actually knew what ICE meant. And this is why I'm saying all of us should be having conversations with our children today about whether they're hearing this type of bullying. Because when I hear Jocelyn's story and see interviews, people say things like, she didn't really know what they meant, they didn't fully understand. I mean, she's 11 years old, right? And so I asked my son, do you hear any bullying relating to ICE? And he looked at me like, huh? And so he didn't know what ICE was. I told him what ICE was, and I explained to him that some kids in schools are making bullying statements about calling ICE, and he had never heard any of that. Thankfully, that hasn't happened, that he's heard of. But I told him if he hears anything like that, he has to treat it as any other form of bullying that he hears in that school, and he has to report it to an adult ASAP. So whether he knows about people saying, racist things, and to report that, he knows if people are threatening violence against somebody else, to report that. All of the basic things that we're supposed to teach our kids about going to find an adult. Obviously threats of violence with school shootings and people saying to bring a gun to school. But we need to add this to the list. We need to make sure that our kids are on the lookout and they have their ears open to hear anything relating to bullying, relating to somebody's immigration status, because there's a lot of other stuff. I mean, I know a kid in the fifth grade, maybe no third grade, who a black child who after Trump won, was told that she better hide because she's gonna get enslaved. She's gonna go back and she's gonna get enslaved. This is third grade, third or fourth grade, but elementary school. Where are they getting this from? Right? Clearly, it's being got from home, and some kids might be saying things out of real worry, but some kids, from what this story was talking about, it's just pervasive bullying. And when I come back to her story directly, the fact that Jocelyn's um, parents were not told about any of this bullying is also disgraceful and despicable. And it really makes me wonder what's going on in Gainesville, Texas. The investigators told her that she had been doing counseling at the school. The first day something like that happens, a note goes home. And for this, it's and but so there's a connection to this between the school's rights and the parents' rights, and how schools feel like they don't have to respond to parents about anything. And this was part of what was happening with all of the critical race theory and all of the other types of things that people talking about states' rights and empower schools and so on and so forth. A desire, a belief that, according to this story, parents can be just completely shut out. And so there's deeper investigation that needs to be done there. I doubt that anything's going to happen under this government in Texas. I don't know what authorities can investigate it, but as the mom said, she needs justice. She did not have a chance to intervene to save her daughter because she didn't know. Her daughter, like many kids do, who don't want to worry their parents, she came home, played the role, smiled, and all of that. And of course, we know, because in these interviews, Jocelyn's mom did not disclose their immigration status, but we know that people are going to find them, and she's probably going to experience more harassment. Is she going to get the type of protections that she needs in Texas? Is she going to get the type of protection she needs under Cash Patel's FBI? This is only going to get worse for this family. And I'm watching some of these commentators on CNN, and they're like, yeah, this is tragic. But a lot of Latinos did vote for Trump, and blah 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 blah. They don't care. Their humanity or lack thereof, it's on full display. Don't believe them when they say tragic. Don't believe them when they say prayers for the family. Jocelyn Carranza should be here today. I am proud of the work that I do with schools in working with being an upstander, not a bystander, and the anti-bullying that needs to take place. And we need to do more of this. And I'm out here willing to work with your school and any school out there because our kids are suffering enough on so many different levels, watching their parents lose jobs, um, and lots of other things. But in this immigration space, so many people are not sending their kids to school because ICE might show up at their doorstep. So many parents are not sending their kids to school because they might pick up the kids and then come home and get their parents. We know that there are, when you listen to people like Alicia Menendez, she talks about how parents are making instructions to give to neighbors for what to do if their kid comes home and their parents aren't there. These are real things. I'm a student. I'm a parent at American University as well as a professor, and there was somebody on campus a couple last week wearing an ice jacket. Turned out it was an imposter. I don't know if the person was arrested. I hope they were, but I got emails and texts from my daughter about this. People were freaking out, and now we got to remind all kids just to all students make sure you're carrying some type of ID with them. This is turning into like South Africa. It's turning into what's happening in Israel as it relates to how Palestinians have to walk around and the like. Because the fact of the matter is, at some point, y'all got to realize that this is just not Latino people being taken away. I've heard a story about a Cameroonian family that was put on one of those planes, and I noticed they never show the black people they're picking up wearing chains. And we know that Trump just got rid of temporary protective status for many Haitians, so that's going to be happening. I heard a story about an Iranian family. Still not hearing anything about any white folks yet, though. But out of this family deserved better, and this country really let her down. And this woman, like whether her parents or Jocelyn's parents were here, documented or undocumented, it actually doesn't even matter because people are going to treat them like they are undocumented and go after them and target them. So it doesn't. We the humanity people. How many more children? Because we know full well that this is happening to many children across the country, and many are scared to report it. But this is also why many kids aren't even going to school at all. So we let Jocelyn Carranza down. We let our family down. But we need to use her story as a cautionary tale. They talked about she loved going to get her nails done with her grandma, family movie nights, and all of that. All just gone because kids were ignorant, 11 years old. And we all know how cruel kids can be. And they're bringing the things that they got from home. My kids were, my high school kids and college kids were bullied when they were this age and younger. A lot of work needs to be done in that space. But until that is done, the school should be working with parents to protect all children. And it is unfortunate that the school, according to these reports, did not give the mom an opportunity to save her child. The story I read primarily talked about the mother, but I believe both parents are involved. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we have to do better. Rest in peace, Jocelyn. You should be here right now. We have to make sure this doesn't happen to any more of the children. Talk to your kids about this because I'm pretty sure it could be happening in their school too. Peace.